Hello and welcome everyone to this live broadcast from the team here at Ethos. Thank you for joining us. My name's Ryan. I'm head of creative and experience here at Ethos. And yeah, we're just really excited to share some news with you today. So today I'm excited to finally announce a key member of our leadership team, Adam Megji, a good friend of mine since childhood and an incredible guy. He's been working behind the scenes for some time now, working with the Ethos team to build a highly innovative, ready-to-scale engineering framework from the ground up to power both Ethos and many other future finance applications in both the crypto and the traditional finance space. So he's really an integral part of the brain trust behind Ethos Bedrock and brings some incredibly powerful experience to the team. So Adam Megji joins Ethos from his former post as CTO and co-founder of Universe.com. And that's a social ticketing startup with a really proven track record of success and top-notch product experience and massive scalability, which is really important for Ethos as we move forward. Under Adam's leadership, Universe grew to become one of the premier plug-and-play ticketing platforms used by global brands in large-scale events such as BlizzCon, Red Bull, Lego, Coors Light, Secret Cinema, and many, many others, large and small. And Universe's innovative approach and industry-leading tech led it to being acquired by Ticketmaster and Live Nation, where Adam continues to serve as an expert consultant on forward-thinking technology and architecture. So his depth of experience and cutting-edge infrastructure, best-in-class product experience, really will have transformative impact for us here at Ethos as we continue to democratize access to blockchain and cryptocurrencies and build the tools needed to really help foster mass adoption on a global scale. So he's been hard at work building Ethos Bedrock behind the scenes, again, which is a sophisticated, high-performance API architecture that will power the crypto and future finance applications of tomorrow, seamlessly integrated with the ETHOS Token and the product ecosystem. He's going to take us through what Bedrock means, what it's all about, how it's come together, and what it's going to unlock for the future of Ethos and many others. So please join us in welcoming my good friend Adam Megji officially to the Ethos family. He's going to hop in here.
All right, thanks, Ryan. That was awesome. That was a lovely intro. Appreciate that. Hello, Ethos community. I am so thrilled and pleased to be able to meet you all face to face. As Ryan mentioned, I've been hard at work and grinding on Bedrock and working with the team. I'm super excited. This is a really, really big thing that we're building together. You guys are a big part of it. I'm excited to be now officially, along the ride with you guys. So I'm going to be walking you through a little bit about Bedrock, as Ryan suggested. But first, let me just talk a little bit about myself here. I want to make sure that you guys all, know my story and where I'm coming from with things. So, all right. So, who am I? So I am Adam Megji, and I'm a CTO at Ethos. And I've been addicted to technology since I was a kid. I've been creating things with my bare hands for startups, for scale-ups, for Fortune 500 companies since the early days of the internet. And I'm excited to bring that lifetime of experience and passion and apply it to Ethos and create something remarkable together. So in the early days of my career, I helped modernize urban transportation. I was building technology for platforms that powered independent car sharing. And one of the themes that really resonates with me across my career is I like to build transformative technology that changes the way that we work and we play every day. And what could be more impactful than cryptocurrency in 2018? So that's a theme that I think you'll recognize in my experience. In 2011, I co-founded Universe.com. I'm highly technical, so I stepped in as the technical co-founder and as the CTO. And at Universe, our mission was to really rekindle the human connection through buying and selling tickets to events and experiences. For us, experiences and events were a big part of when we look back on our lives and our relationships. That's what we remember. And building technology to power that was a very, very powerful mission. And so I architected a cloud-based microservice architecture capable of selling tickets at insane volumes, at insane scales. Some of you might be familiar with the event series BlizzCon, so I helped scale that out, and that's been a success for a while. Ryan, one sec, actually. Technical consideration. It's kind of masking the slides there. one moment. Okay, great. Thank you, Ryan. All right. Yes, and that led me to, in 2015, we were acquired by Ticketmaster and Live Nation, which is the world's premier live experience company. And I had an awesome time there. I'm still involved with Ticketmaster, as Ryan mentioned, as a consultant on some of their future-facing technology. And together we opened up the platform, built a lot of really cool tech, and also helped ship a next-generation checkout experience. And in 2018, I'm super stoked to be a part of Ethos and what we're doing here. So that's a little bit about me. As I mentioned before, I've been super passionate about technology for quite some time. I started Bitcoin mining in 2011, and for the reasons in which I'm excited to join Ethos, I wasn't particularly successful at crypto mining or Litecoin mining in 2014. I didn't exactly know what I was doing back then, and like many people, we ended up losing our crypto. And so that's one of the biggest challenges that I think is the barrier to mass adoption here. It's just too easy to slip up, and in an instant, you can lose your money. And I think we've all experienced either personally or through friends or family. And what we really need to do is make it so that the average human is able to confidently participate in cryptocurrency and be a part of this new revolution. So that's really what I want to bring. I want to create the technology and the back ends and the front ends and the platforms that allow not just Ethos, but everybody to be able to create startups and generations of tech that build upon this Bedrock platform. And this is a great opportunity for me to combine my personal mission in life along with building some cool technology for you guys. So what is Bedrock? I know that you guys have probably heard about this before. We've talked about Bedrock in the white paper. You've probably heard discussion of that on Telegram and in the community. So what is Bedrock? So Bedrock, it's a sophisticated, high-performance, highly scalable API architecture for all cryptocurrency. So Bedrock is a rock-solid foundation for the future of finance. It's going to be a really, really awesome platform. It not only powers our own homegrown universal wallet, but it's also going to power a whole generation of blockchain startups, financial platforms, all sorts of new crypto plays that can also use the Ethos Bedrock platform in the same way that we are. It's kind of like Amazon. You think back to when they used to sell books and they started opening up their web services, and now startups everywhere build up on AWS, and that's extremely powerful. And so we look to companies like that for inspiration. So this is a beautiful but slightly simplified diagram of the architecture. And when I say it's simplified, there's a lot more complexity here. You'll see other ones coming up shortly. I'm going to walk you through all of the different parts of this because one of my objectives today is to help you understand the capabilities of Bedrock from an external perspective, because you hopefully will be building upon that just as we are. And also so you appreciate some of the internal workings and architectural decisions that go into how the sausage is made. There's also going to be elements on how we build, ship, deploy software too, which I think will be interesting to the developers in the house. So let's dive in. Bedrock API. So when you think about what I'm bringing to the Bedrock team, you can imagine, like, based on my experience, I'm trying to roll forward some of that history and help apply that to Bedrock and the Ethos platform. So I'm helping build out the Bedrock microservice architecture. And when you look at how popular some new wallet announcements have been, we anticipate we're going to have millions of you guys knocking on our door. Hopefully this thing will blow up. And of course, that takes engineering. That doesn't just come for free. That takes careful planning, scaling, and we're going to be preparing the Bedrock API to be more than capable of delivering on all of your hopes and dreams for what the wallet will be. So we're crafting a rock-solid production environment. We're also trying to create an amazing dev experience. We realize that having a solid dev experience means that people can be creative and productive and efficient when they're helping build this out with us. And so part of this you'll see is how we're approaching development culture. And honestly, like, we all love this stuff. Evangelizing the Bedrock API is going to be extremely important. We plan on opening up the platform. Again, this is going to be something that people can build upon, partners, developers, startups, everybody. So I'm going to be helping do more of these sorts of things, blogging, talking about Bedrock with you guys, and maybe you'll even meet me face-to-face one day. So let's talk a bit about the concepts that are foundational to Bedrock. So if you guys have read the white paper, then you probably would have seen concepts that I'll be describing here. So I'll be unpacking some of the stuff that you might have read about. One of the layers, one of the most fundamental layers right now is the Ethos broadcast system. And what does that mean, right? Well, when you think about what it would take to get a new cryptocurrency project off the ground, there's just fundamentals that you need to know what's going on in the markets. You need to know what's going on with coins, price data, historical data, that sort of thing. And right now, your only option is to find other APIs, stitch them together. There's a lot of work that you need to do to cobble together the data that's out there before you can get down to the business of doing whatever it is that your startup or your platform needs to do. So the Ethos broadcast layer will be providing a beautiful entry point into coin data, real-time price data, historical token performance. If you want to get hardcore with it, the OHLCV, the candle data, you can get all of that stuff through Ethos Broadcast. You'll be able to get that in real time in a highly scalable way, and in a way where you'll be able to build applications on top of it too. So I'll be unpacking the layers that make that a really pleasurable experience for developers, but that's what the Ethos Broadcast layer will offer. So the Ethos Wallet services. Now, this is going to be a very important layer specifically for the universal wallet, and it definitely allows us to deliver some of the core capabilities that you guys are waiting for. So that includes virtual wallets, and I'll talk about what that is, the real wallets watch list. So the first thing that you might want to do is represent cryptocurrency in the universal wallet that you already have. Maybe that's in wallets that you've got, maybe it's on exchanges. So the remote wallets will help you track that. Now, it gets really good when you think about the real wallets, because that's really when you're taking advantage of the universal wallet, and those will be coins and funds that are backed by real crypto accounts that you can manage within the universal wallet. The watch list is cool because sometimes you just want to see what's up with your favorite coins, you're doing research, you're doing all this great stuff that we find ourselves obsessing over all day, all night. The watch list is a great way for you to just track that stuff in the universal wallet as well. You'll be able to enter your wallet holdings, so you can track what you've got, what you've bought, sold over time. And then one of the really cool things is you can then take those holdings and you can plot them, track them, analyze them, and see how you did relative to indexes and markets. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we all want to be beating the market, and it's a lot of fun. We can use the wallet to safely participate in the cryptocurrency world, and we'll be able to find out how we're doing relative to common indexes. Of course, it's a wallet, so you'll be able to send transactions through the API. And then through the wallet software, of course, receive transactions and get information. But these are the sorts of capabilities that you'll be able to expect that are exposed from that Bedrock API. This alone is enough to build really cool startups upon. So coming soon, as many of you know, we will be working on the Ethos Fiat Gateway. And I'm not going to go into too much depth on that. We're hard at work figuring all that out. That's coming together super well. I'm going to be very influential on the development and rollout of that. So stay tuned. Hopefully we can do another fun live stream like this on the Fiat Gateway, as well as Ethos Relay. And similarly, that's where we're going to have our plans rolling out for diversification with exchanges, liquidity providers, and various other things as well. So sit tight, stay tuned. We will be talking about that more, but not today. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the Bedrock API capabilities. So we're going to have coin market data coming back. I talked a bit about this before. You'll be able to make requests for different coins based on symbols, based on time ranges. You can specify your candle intervals and get back lots of really great data responses from the API. So super powerful stuff there. And as I mentioned before, you've got the virtual wallets, you've got the watch lists, the real wallets, holdings, all that stuff. So for the developers in the house, a lot of the basic capabilities that you'll need from any API that you're integrating against will be available in Bedrock. We have this phrase CRUD, where you can create, read, update, delete data. You'll be able to do all management capabilities that you expect to your Ethos accounts. So yeah, a big part again, same thing. If we're sending transactions, then we need to be able to integrate with the blockchain. So the API provides mechanisms for you to send transactions and also do other functions that are more chain specific. Now, because it's a universal wallet, one of the challenges that we have is to find ways to normalize how this process works. So when I say send transaction, that isn't specific to any particular coin. That's across all, because again, Ethos is all about being universal. So that's what you can expect from an external perspective from Bedrock. I think it's super cool. And I know a lot of you have had questions around what constitutes the internal Bedrock architecture. How do we know this thing is going to scale? The last thing that we want is to go live and to be experiencing some of the painful experiences that you might have seen when other successful crypto companies gain a lot of traction and of course have scaling challenges. So we want to definitely avoid that through making smart architectural decisions. Now, this is a diagram. It's very high level, but it's sweet because we get to reveal to you some of the internal services that are going to go into how Bedrock fulfills all of its API requirements. I'm going to be diving into all of these things, so just sit tight with me. But this is a good visualization to help frame up the conversation. Let's zoom in a little bit. So, I'm going to talk about the public tier architecture here, and the way that we're approaching building up the universal wallet is we're using React Native. I'll talk about that in a moment. But you can imagine there's going to be API clients like mobile apps, hitting CDNs and hitting our GraphQL API. I'll talk about GraphQL, what that is, and the important role that it plays in a moment, as well as NATS, which is the gateway into the private tier. And the private tier's got a really, really elegant, horizontally scalable and high performance series of services, which are, very specific in purpose, allowing us to scale them and iterate quickly on them independently without worrying about creating this sprawling monolith. And so I'll be talking about the technologies that make that possible as well. But we've put a lot of heart and soul into the thought of this architecture, and we're super happy with it, and I'm excited to share that with you. So, what kind of clients will you expect to see integrating and building upon Bedrock API? Well, first, you're going to find that the Universal Wallet is powered exclusively by Bedrock. And as I mentioned, if Bedrock is able to create powerful cryptocurrency apps and integrations on top of our backend, then Universal Wallet will be the first. So, we really believe in eating our own dog food, or I prefer to say drinking our own champagne. And that will allow us to make sure that the capabilities that we give to you are awesome because, we use them ourselves. So you'll see, how developer-friendly and scalable the API tier really is. So React Native, that's a technology that we really, really love. React Native has allowed us to build a very, very awesome code base around, native apps, which is important for many reasons when you're building a universal wallet. But it's cool because it uses, JavaScript, and it uses, it ultimately creates native app code, so iOS, Android. And a lot of successful startups these days are leaning on the technology provided by React Native. So it's a really powerful system for creating mobile apps right now. I definitely recommend you guys check it out if you're interested in creating apps. This actually came out of the learnings that Facebook had, building the super popular Facebook app, as well as Instagram and Airbnb, Skype. These are apps that we use every day, and they're heavily, heavily powered by React Native. So it's exciting to see us embrace that technology. Now, GraphQL, this is one of the technologies that I've been the most excited by in recent years. Previous to that, I had a lot of experience building JSON APIs, and when GraphQL became popular in recent years, it was an extremely exciting revolution because we hadn't seen improvements in the API space for quite some time. And a lot of us have felt that JSON and REST APIs, they're pretty good, but they always had common pain points and things that as developers you have to overcome. So we're super excited to embrace GraphQL as our primary API that we're using to expose on Bedrock. Personally, I can't even think of another GraphQL API for cryptocurrency, so that fact alone is amazing. If any of you have used GraphQL, it's a really, really great way to get up and running, build custom apps, and it's super articulate, really powerful, and behind the scenes, it's got some patterns that allow for really, really highly scalable sort of fulfillment of those requests, and great developer tooling. It's all self-descriptive, so it's really easy for you to dive in and get familiar with the schema. It doesn't require heavy reading up of documentation. You can just dive in. It's interactive. And yeah, Facebook has been using it heavily since 2012. GitHub, Pinterest, Shopify. A lot of really awesome and successful startups who are now huge and sometimes public have done very well with GraphQL. So we think you're going to love it. Now let's talk a bit about authentication. authentication and security is an extremely important topic, and we take it very, very seriously at Ethos. One of the best things about OAuth 2 is that it's very secure and it's very widely understood. A lot of developers have used OAuth concepts, whether that was through integrating with Facebook Connect or Google or other common web authentication schemes. And we're excited to roll that out at Ethos. At Ethos, we actually are using a particularly secure approach because for the mobile apps, we're using hosted web forms. It's not unlike what you see at other large crypto apps like Coinbase, etc. And this is a really great way to make sure that passwords are only ever provided directly from the real users, and passwords will never be sent through third parties. So it's great to have that, that level of security happening at the authentication layer to protect your accounts. Okay, so those are some of the technologies that we're using on the client here. I could go into more detail on the universal wallet itself, but we'll save that for another time. All right. You guys still with me over here? You haven't seen my face in a little bit, so hi everyone who just joined. Okay, so let's go over back and talk about the internal Bedrock technologies. So internally, we're using a bunch of really cool stuff. We're using a lot of NodeJS and a lot of TypeScript. And one of the cool things about Node.js is it's super fast, it's non-blocking, it's a very, very familiar and comfortable programming language, and it's great. It's a great choice on the back end. It's actually the most popular language on GitHub, if you want to count pull requests. TypeScript is an awesome improvement over just vanilla, standard Node.js. So TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. It adds a lot of really great syntax, which helps us make bulletproof and robust software. We found that TypeScript has improved our developer efficiency and accuracy, and it makes adding services a lot more scalable and with fewer headaches for developers. Now, internally, we're using a new technology called Protobuf. And Protobuf is a really great way for our microservices to communicate within themselves. So, previously, a lot of you might have used things like JSON, but Protobuf is actually, it's great because it improves upon the things that you like about JSON and gives you a lot of niceties that otherwise, can create, issues when you're trying to build complicated apps at scale and evolve them over the years. So the nice thing about Protobuf is that it lets you define the structure and the schema for your payloads between microservices. And this is really important. We're using a lot of we're using an evented message bus architecture, and this allows us to standardize on some of the payloads there. So this is something that we really love. Now, as I mentioned, we're using a message bus architecture internally, and this allows us to have an insanely scalable internal message bus. NATS is actually 10 times faster than ActiveMQ and 2.5 times faster than Redis, which is pretty crazy. It's scalable. It can be clustered. It's cloud ready. And this has been something that has allowed us to really simplify our internal architecture, which lets us ship faster, deploy faster, and build really cool features quicker. So definitely recommend you check out NATS if this is your thing. Now, because we've got TypeScript, Protobuf, NATS, what we wanted was a common layer that allowed us to very easily share otherwise complicated business logic between services. The last thing we want to do is couple all these things together. And so we have this thing called the service, the common service. It's not really a service. It's more like a common layer that other things mount and import. And in here, we've got things like code-generated Protobuf definitions and common helpers and things that are helpful across the stack. So this is something that we found is a really great pattern to help create modularity and composability within the Bedrock internal microservice. We're using Docker. Docker is an awesome technology. It's the leading containerization platform, and we've done a lot of work to try and create conventions to allow us to ship our infrastructure locally, also to the test environment, staging, production everywhere. And this has been something that that has definitely helped package up and deploy all the different services that you saw in that earlier diagram. Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is really awesome. It's definitely won the container wars, which were happening over the past couple of years. Kubernetes allows you to automate deployments, scaling, management of the services. This is super critical because we're going to have a lot of crazy volume, and just given the way that crypto works, something can happen. All of a sudden, you need to access your wallet, you need to make API calls. We need to be able to scale that quickly and safely. So Kubernetes is a really great way for us to ship and deploy this infrastructure. Google uses it to run billions of containers a week, and we think it's going to be an awesome fit for us too. GitLab and GitLab CI is a way that we're testing and packaging and deploying this. So it's the heart of our build, test, and deploy pipeline. It's actually really cool because we've been able to take the GitLab runners and use Amazon autoscaling to save a lot of money as well. So some benefits of using CI there. And then we're using other cool things like Prometheus. Prometheus is a monitoring and alerting system. And soon we're going to be hooking that directly into our Kubernetes cluster too. So this will inform our autoscaling policies with really smart stuff. Jaeger is some really cool technology as well. It's part of the Open Tracing Initiative. And this is a great way for us to understand what's happening under the hood with our microservices. All these technologies are super cool. And we're going to be writing some blog posts and sharing some more information with you on these things, including screenshots and articles on how you can get this stuff running on your projects too. So we hope to give back to the community for all these awesome initiatives that people have shared with us. And a lot of the technologies I've just described are actually core to the CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. So this is a collection of tools that are cloud native. They're designed to help companies like ours ship highly scalable distributed systems to the cloud quickly. And Kubernetes, Prometheus, Jaeger, all these things are part of the ecosystem, and we're stoked to be embracing that and hope to share more of those with you as we roll out more and more of them. So let's talk about the Ethos dev environment for a little bit. So we're using Docker Compose as a way to take all the different Docker containers and then stitch them together into a local dev environment. And of course, that supports all the different layers I talked about, like the common layer. We've got hot reloading going on. So it's really cool. It's a good way for us to have our developers be productive and run the infrastructure without getting marred and running millions and millions of microservices, which can definitely be a bit of a pain. And so we'll talk a little bit about our build, test, and deploy pipeline. So all great code is well tested. We definitely believe in unit testing in different manners. We have unit tests per service, integration tests everywhere, mobile tests for QA, and of course all these things run in our CI environment. So this is important because we want to build carrier grade, mission critical, highly available software for you guys, so you're not experiencing any downtime or any frustration when exciting things happen in the crypto space. And this is a great way for us to guarantee that we ship high quality software to you. All right. So I wanted to take a moment and talk about the ETHOS token. So the ETHOS token is going to play a huge role in the Bedrock API. And as you read in the white paper and heard about in our Telegram and many places, Ethos is the fuel that powers the Ethos ecosystem, including the Bedrock API. And Ethos is useful for you guys because you'll be able to enable micropayments within the platform. That's when you're dealing with sending like funds within the wallets and between users and throughout the social platform. And Ethos will also be used to unlock capabilities and advanced features, to the users, to you guys. To developers and partners and startups building upon the Bedrock API, Ethos is the fuel that allows you to consume the APIs and platform and sit on top of the shoulders of giants, so to speak, in a way where you can build products on top of this same platform as well. So the Ethos token is going to be part of what makes that work. And at the end of the day, I think you've probably caught on to this recurring message, but Bedrock is something that we're building because we're developers, and we hope that other developers will love it and leverage it as well. We've looked to a lot of really cool open source platforms and open source software projects that you've seen here, and we want to give back. And we want to evangelize a lot of the really cool technologies that I've showed you today, like GraphQL, like React Native, like Nats, all these cool things. We think there's a lot of value in them, and hope to give back through open source contributions. We're doing a lot of really cool things to solve difficult problems in the crypto space, and you're going to see libraries extracted from our learnings. You're going to see SDKs that help you use the Bedrock API in whichever language you like. And we look forward to sharing those community contributions back with you guys. So sit tight. You'll see more things coming down the pipeline on our GitHub. And finally, we're hiring. Hopefully you've seen some of the cool technologies that we're building here. We'd love to get you involved if you're a JavaScript developer, if you're using other technologies like that, if you're into infrastructure, if you're a product manager, a designer, if you love any of these things, if you want to get involved, please hit up our careers page. We'd love to get you involved, and hopefully you can join the team and come hack on cool stuff with us. All right, well, that's basically it from me. I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in today. Thank you, Ryan, for helping put this presentation together, and I'm excited to have more interactions with you guys. Please